Hello and welcome to Still Waters by DK Productions, aka my good old friend the Duke. This has been inspired by the recent liminal spaces trend, and it's leaning very hard on the game pools. This was made in Game Guru, which we will not hold against it. It's actually quite impressive with all the shader work going on. There is a reshade effect, and this is me checking the graphics, because at first I felt that it was very, very blurry. But as the game continues, I noticed that it is kind of the point to have an old VHS effect and to also hide certain technical limitations. But once you get used to this blurriness, it's actually quite atmospheric. Even though I was struggling to read this sign here. But it's not essential. Primavera, ne? I really like the custom water sound effects going on. That's just a great effect, really. See, this is what I mean. This is really just a sprite, but the VHS effect is really hiding that shortcoming. So anyone who isn't really paying that close attention to it and doesn't know that much about video game technology will probably think that it's a shader. It looks 3D almost. Really good sound design. Now with those liminal space games, there's of course a certain attempt to make you feel uneasy. And I find that quite well realized for such a quote-unquote weak engine. Now, I'm not one to pretend that I'm super scared by a video game, but I do appreciate a good atmosphere. And Duke certainly knows how to make one and how to evoke a certain sense of place. Like, I mean, look at this. It looks wet. For such a low-tech engine, that's really hard to do. Little whirlpool here. I personally really like these spa environments. Maybe not the never-ending Euclidean ones like this, but the real ones. But yeah, there's something to the fantasy of being trapped in a place like this and never finding an exit that is rather unnerving. Especially since if you're alone, those places are quite sterile. Echoey, and as I have mentioned before, rather wet. There's a bit of a maze going on here. I don't have my flashlight, so I hope that this will translate well to a YouTube video. But there's enough specular highlights that I think the player should, well, in this case I guess the viewer should be able to make out what is going on. Alright, I think I got it. Yeah, this is a new place. I think this line is from a puddle decor. Oh, hello. This one got me, really. I was no longer convinced that there wasn't something in the water that was going to grab me. With a lot of these liminal space walking simulators, it's really not... Look at the ducky. The demon dog. I was going to say, it's really not that scary if you know going in that there's nothing in it that's really going to hurt you, like there's no fail state. But with those indie games, you never know. This is me testing out if the duck is actually going to hurt me or then the clips will. This would be such a strange situation to be in Geneva. I mean, it would be terrifying, probably, but I also don't think the human body has a proper emotion to react to this. What am I talking about? I'm sorry. I'm rambling. But I hope my appreciation for something like this being done in game rule, which as we all know is a rather flawed and weak engine, shines through. It is a bit blocky, I'm gonna mention that. But I still appreciate the effort. Whoa. Those windows and light sources all seem rather bright, but they barely emit any light. I know this is by design, but I still find it rather strange. Here we have a rounded arc, which is always a nice feature to see in any TGC engine. I know that this is very basic, but this is a hobbyist developer channel, so sometimes rudimentary things like this get mentioned. Just like how I like how wet and reflective all the surfaces are in this. Also, the rooms get a lot more interesting as the game progresses. So I would, like this, for example, so I would suggest to front load the game with some more architecturally complex rooms. First impressions, you know. Also, I had an experience not quite like this. Not like this at all, but I bet you understand the similarity. Let's check here first. Oh, everything's inverted in here, but it's a dead end. This would be such a good place to spawn an enemy or something, a ghost, an apparition. Nevertheless, I was in an IKEA and they didn't really have what I wanted, so I was there for 2 hours just looking for the right furniture, and then I just wanted to leave. But the IKEA seemingly didn't end. Like, there was another floor, another floor, another floor. And I just kept walking, and I started to have anxiety because it was just this endless warehouse. I did, of course, eventually make it out, but I can vaguely relate to the terror it must be if you're in like a car like this and it doesn't end and gets weirder and weirder as you go along. I'm really telling the worst stories today. I'm going to focus on the game now. I enjoy this puzzle section a lot. Just the basic geometry, the platforming. It's a cool idea for this kind of game. I know that the Unreal Engine version Pools does this way better, but we're talking hobby project, free to play, link in the description, made in Game Guru of all things. So yeah, neat room. This is a really weird idea for a game, but it's interesting how concepts like, I think the whole liminal space thing started with depressing photos from post-Soviet countries, then it was like the back rooms, and then we wound up having things like this. I'm pretty sure that this is completely nonsensical without context. Also, I so appreciate that the player doesn't slow down to a crawl once he enters water. That's a feature I really hate. I mean, I guess it's realistic, but it's a video game after all, and we should all have fun. By this point I'm also fairly certain that nothing is gonna come out and grab me, so the tension isn't there as much as earlier when he presented the glowing eyes Hellducks. But this whole thing still has a vibe as if you're really deep under the earth in some kind of endless nightmare swimming room structure. You can probably tell that I wouldn't have had much of a career as a video game commentator. This room I really liked. And it's kind of calm and relaxing compared to the more sinister rest of the game. That's really cool. I'm no longer the only one with a custom getting out of the water sound effect. Ah, yeah. This is cool with the dark tiles. Again, Game Guru has a really rudimentary shader system, so seeing anything done like this is always just cool to see someone use the technology available. And do something with it, anything creative. trying to jump from wall to wall didn't work. I'm also not entirely sure who these games are really for. I mean, I know what it's trying to do, and I think it's reasonably good at it, given what it is, but... Yeah, right, made it to the exit. Interesting project, interesting creative art project. I'm going to be fully honest, it's not really my kind of game. But yeah, this whole thing has an internet following, so I wish you success with it. I do hope that you will finish it, and yeah, Godspeed, buddy. I do think you should add some monsters though. Maybe a shotgun. Okay, bye bye.